What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got some more NBA news to talk about with you guys. This time actually revolving around the New York Knicks and Victor Oladipo, with it currently actually being reported by Jonathan Mackey that on Victor Oladipo, I heard from a league source that he wants out, and there have been a lot of potential whispers on the Knicks being a potential trade partner. So that's obviously in his words. I definitely have heard, we've seen now there has been a lot of Victor Oladipo and Knicks news very recently as well, and with the, reports as well that the Indiana Pacers and Oladipo can't actually get to an agreement on a contract, and they might actually potentially be looking to try and trade him right now. I definitely feel like the New York Knicks trading for him would be an outstanding idea by the franchise, especially in this time, as Oladipo's value is definitely not exactly as high as it was potentially, a couple of years ago. For example, he's had a lot of injuries and he only has one season left on his contract, and he will be asking for a, pretty decent amount of money. It's reported that he wants around 22 to 25 million after he declined a $20 million deal for 4 years on the Detroit Pistons, which would have all added up to $80 million. Now, this is pretty evident on that. He's had a lot of injuries. He hasn't exactly been that great since those injuries. And as mentioned before, he only has one season left on his contract. And now, what the issue of that is potentially based on the fact that he has had a lot of interest coming from the Miami Heat. And it very much looks like that he actually very much is also interested in the Miami Heat. So I think that's something a lot of teams will be very cautious of. You don't want to trade for Oladipo, a player who's had injury issues in the last couple of years, might not be as consistent as you think he is. You don't want to trade for a player of his caliber and give up a certain amount of stuff. For example, I definitely feel like the Knicks would have to give up a couple of first-round picks and maybe a couple of young players here and there as well to try and get Victor Oladipo. You don't want to give all of that, all of those assets up just to see him play one season with your team, and then he goes and leaves to the Miami Heat in free agency. You definitely don't want to say that. So a lot of teams are going to be very cautious when trading for Victor Oladipo. So throughout this season, he's actually averaged 14.5 points per game, 3.9 rebounds on 2.9 assists, on 31% from 3 in 27.8 minutes. So pretty bad numbers, and his defense wasn't exactly as consistent as it used to be, but that was definitely coming off a pretty bad injury that he had, in the season before. So it's going to take him some time to get into it and just get his body back. Before this season, he was averaging 18.8 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, 5.2 assists on 34%. And on the season before, his best season, where he had his most notable one, was 23.1 points per game, 5.2 rebounds, 4.3 assists, 37% from 3 in 34 minutes. So, absolutely incredible stats. And although I do think that he'll be highly interested in joining the Miami Heat in the upcoming offseason, if he doesn't request a trade to them, in the offseason, I still feel like the New York Knicks actually trading for him would be a potentially good idea. For example, we've heard a lot of rumors going around that the New York Knicks could highly be interested in actually going out and getting Chris Paul. I've talked about how think getting Chris Paul and Danilo Gallinari, who they're also been interested in, would be a pretty good idea, just based on the fact that in the last 10 years, the Knicks really haven't had a good point guard at all. I mean, they had Jeremy Lin for a short stretch, and then besides that, their most consistent over the couple years that they had, the okay point guard was Raymond Felton, and he is not a player you want to write home about. So again, they really haven't had that good of a point guard, or maybe consistent point guard is the better use for it, because Jeremy Lin was a very good point guard in his short time on the New York Knicks. I definitely feel like going out and getting a player like Chris Paul, who could very much help develop the younger players of the Knicks, very similar to what he did with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he already has the chemistry of Danilo Gallinari, who they're reportedly the front runners for as well. I feel like that'd be a very good idea on trying to get those players, and it would give Victor Oladipo a huge reason to re-sign with the team in that following offseason if they were to, of course, trade for Victor Oladipo. So it's been highly rumored that they were actually going to partner up DeMar and Paul and Gallinari. Look, I like DeMar, and I think they will go with that option. I just feel like getting Victor Oladipo is a massive gamble, but still one that the Knicks could actually and should actually potentially take. So if they were to trade for Oladipo, they would actually have a pretty nice team. That team may consist of Chris Paul at point guard, Victor Oladipo at shooting guard, RJ Barrett at small forward, Danilo Gallinari or Davis Bertans, who's another player they've also been interested in at that power forward position, and then Mitchell Robinson at center. That would be a very, very lethal starting five. A starting five that is definitely, top 8 playoff contention caliber. And then they would also have off the bench potential role players like that pick number 8, whoever they take at that pick, Alfred Payton, Reggie Bullock, Taj Gibson, etc. And whatever, players that they have remaining, from the trades that they do make. I definitely feel like it could be a very interesting time for the Knicks, and that is definitely a playoff team, especially with a very, experienced coach in Tom Thibodeau. So, again, Oladipo's value isn't crazy high. Chris Paul's value isn't crazy high either, so I definitely feel like they could get those two players with only having to give up a couple of first-round picks, Julius Randle, a couple of young players here and there, and then they could definitely get those deals done. And they could also sign, Danilo Gallinari or Davis Bertans on those sign-and-trade deals that both players could reportedly be looking for. So this could ultimately be the way the Knicks, ultimately get out of it. They would have a lot of these really nice veteran players who are still all-star caliber that could get them to the playoffs, while also still keeping a very nice young core intact of that pick number 8, Mitchell Robinson and RJ Barrett. Of course, there's going to be no guarantees that they're going to be able to keep Kevin Knox, Dennis Smith Jr., Frank Ntilikina, etc., as Oklahoma will be definitely looking to try and trade for a couple of those young players, and same with the Indiana Pacers. But honestly, do New York Knicks fans really care? I don't really think so. Those young players haven't done anything for the Knicks so far. And if those, teams still see potential in them, like it's reported OKC do, then, again, it doesn't exactly worry the Knicks too much, as they're not getting anything out of them right now. Yes, they could be good in the future, but the Knicks, they need to show some progress, and they need to show that they can be a good team. And yeah, again, I feel like going out and getting Oladipo and Chris Paul and potentially Gallinari would be great moves, as those three players, as mentioned, do not have crazy high trade value at all. So that would be the ideal situation. A lot of Knicks fans love it. A lot of Knicks fans are really liking the idea of going out and getting Chris Paul, and a lot of Knicks fans are very much liking the idea of Oladipo as well. Of course, I think it's going to be a good idea, but there should be a little bit of worry going ahead, as Oladipo is very interested in Miami, and it is reported they are too. So again, the Knicks will definitely have to go ahead with these trades with a lot of caution. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for the latest NBA news and NBA content. But also don't forget to subscribe to my gaming channel and my IRL/long channels. Links for them will all be in the description down below. And definitely don't forget to check out my podcast as well if you haven't already. Links for that will all be in the description down below. But as I was saying, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, definitely comment in the comment section down below what are your thoughts and opinions on this. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.